So the gingerbread tree has recovered almost completely now from the effects of that frost, and I'm going to remove these bits that were dying back. They've done their job now of protecting the new shoots from further frosts. Of course, we could still get a late frost now, but all these new shoots have bypassed all the frost damage, so they won't protect those anyway. So I'm going to remove that. They're a possible site of infection and things which we don't want or need. And I think I'm just going to leave the tree to grow this year. I still think that I want to grow one big broom style tree out of this. I have a very straight trunk, and I may at some point want to remove, no, thinking and talking and thinking and talking, I still want a big tree. And this is one of the benefits of this tree. One of the beautiful parts of this tree is the scent in the autumn, when the leaves smell of gingerbread, or some people say marshmallows. And obviously the more leaves you have, the more scent you'll get. So I think I'm just going to let this tree run wild and rampant, and then next spring we can perhaps remove some of these lower growths to expose the trunk, and start building ahead. Yeah, that's the plan for today. In case I didn't say, it's the 15th of May. Oh dear. Okay, so the Circidyphylum Japonicum, the gingerbread tree, is growing great guns now. Any and all evidence that it was clobbered by the frost and its first shoots were blackened and died off is gone completely. It's still a bit of a jumble of shoots all over the place, but I do want to thicken this trunk, so for the time being I'm going to I say there's no evidence. I have dieback here hiding in the centre, so I'm going to chop that back. It's the 1st of June. Can we declare all frosts gone? Not definitively, but for the most part. We're pretty safe in my part of the world now. The weatherman did say it might get down to 4 to 5 degrees tonight, centigrade that is, but obviously that's nowhere near a frost, though still a tad chilly. The gingerbread tree is growing away quite nicely. It's the 14th of June now, and it's thrown out a lot of long new shoots, which is nice. It's putting on some bulk, but I'm thinking it's about time I reduce some of this height. I've got some odd bits where I've got two branches coming out of one spot here, for example, one of which is going to have to go, and I think it's going to be this one, the top one, that's growing out and then straight up. So I'm going to try and remove that without losing the branch below, which I've done. As I think I said in previous videos, I do want this to be a kind of a broom style tree, quite big, and what I'm going to do is reduce. I have 3 branches coming from the tip here, which I see as being the 3 main branches forming the crown, so I'm going to shorten those back so that they will begin to branch thusly, and I'm going to leave all this stuff as kind of sacrifice branches to feed the roots, fatten up the trunk. with the exception of, I'm just going to shorten these that are now the tallest shoots, because I still want the breaks here to be the dominant shoots. I could weigh these down as I've done before, but space becomes rather precious on the bench at times, and I know I've said before, if I'm not careful I end up with two-dimensional trees where they get crowded out. Okay, so there we go. And that's, hopefully we'll set up that to be the beginning of my new head. And then of course I can remove all these branches at the end of the year when they've done their job fattening up the trunk. It's the 28th of June. Sometimes trees do the exact opposite of what you want them to do. Other times, as in this case, they do exactly what you want them to do, or pretty much. These side branches have continued to elongate sideways, helping to thicken up this trunk, which is what I wanted them to do. I didn't want them to take over from these three pieces that I hoped were going to make the beginning of a large broom, and indeed they haven't. These have now broken, and well, the buds have broken rather, I should say, and so we have new growth coming from those 3 points. So we go from 3 to 2 to 2 to 2, so it's a quick close up, so you can see those 3 shoots all growing away rather nicely, maybe a little bit straight. I'm wondering whether I put a little bit of wire on that. Camera battery's dying, but we'll try it anyway. Didn't have to worry about the camera dying quite so much if I was prepared, but as with most of my videos, I pre-selected which trees I want to work on, but I haven't always decided exactly what I want to do with them until I start looking at them more closely. But that's part and parcel of what I'm trying to do with my channel, is showing some of my thought processes such as they are, although often it's just a question of I open my mouth and words come tumbling out, and I don't always know where a sentence is going to end when I start it, which is always a worry. But there you go. Now that's a bit better. That gives it a little bit more interest to that shoot. Back on the bench it goes. It's the 14th of July, and the Circidyphylum has been growing away madly, which is great because, as I said, I want to get lots of foliage so we can get that strong and intense gingerbread smell in the autumn. But it's taking up an awful lot of room on the bench, and so I'm actually going to shorten back some of these side branches, which are there essentially as sacrifice branches, helping to fatten up the trunk, and will be removed at a later date. But they're just taking over, on, as I say, on the bench and shading out other trees. This piece has got broken off at some point, so I'm going to just remove that entirely. And as I say, shorten back these others. going to take that piece out entirely. Okay, so that's lightened its load a little, and as I say, we'll give the other trees a bit more chance of survival, or at least seeing the sun. So I've been moved you in for a closer look at the top here. You can see where I have essentially three main branches beginning to form into a broom. They have then been chopped and split, and now I'm going to chop them again here. And I think this will probably be its last trimmage of the season, although I may indeed change my mind. It's interesting that this tree has branches that have alternate leaves in some places and opposite leaves in others. I don't know if that's normal. If anyone knows, let me know in the comments. These leaves are very definitely alternate, and yet on here, on this branch that I just removed, the leaves are very clearly arranged in pairs. So anyone with experience of this particular tree who can tell me whether that's normal or not, I would very much appreciate it. So there we go, that's tidied it up somewhat. So there we go, so another tree that's growing quite happily in a standard seed tray whilst waiting for a suitable pot to arrive, either by me buying it or Father Christmas, and already used to having a nice flat root base. Okay, so it's the 21st of September, and this gingerbread tree, Circidyphylum Japonicum, has grown quite well, starting to build a little head. I have just let it grow, which was in some ways a bit of a mistake, because I had put a piece of wire on it which has grown into the tree now, and I've got some scarring there which isn't ideal, but it will eventually grow out. So like a dang fool, I hadn't noticed this piece of wire was cutting in quite considerably there, so unfortunately it's not so far cut in that it's tearing the bark as I try and remove it, which is a good thing. The branch is obviously set, and hopefully it'll grow out of that scar relatively quickly. Tempted just to scar it a little with my thumb, or my thumbnail I should say, in the hope that as the tree then calluses over, it'll begin to seal that wound a bit quicker. We shall see. The tree has done pretty much what I wanted it to do in this area. I just move you up slightly. I moved the foliage to one side. As you can see, the tree has, where it was pruned, has divided into two, and it was then pruned again, and those have divided into two, thus beginning to build me a nice head. We have a single shoot here, which I don't think I'm going to keep anyway. I don't like the way it's growing out of the bottom of this branch. As again, I won't remove it right now because I want to keep the foliage on for that scent. So, but yeah, I'm quite pleased. I'm beginning to build that nice. These three branches are beginning to build me a nice head, and we'll have quite a nice little broom tree out of this. So there we have it. I'm going to call it a day for this video. There is a playlist as always, so you can check back and see where the tree was a couple of years ago, and its progress up until now, and follow it along on its adventures into the future. 360. As I say, these lower branches will be removed in the spring, leaving the trunk, which has got some quite nice taper now, leaving that trunk bare, and I should be encouraging the head. Again, it's going to be a nice largest tree to get the most foliage for that scent. Thank you all for watching, I really do appreciate it. Do the usual YouTube things, the liking, the subscribing, the commenting. Let me know what you think below. Most of all, please stay safe, everybody.